wanted to.
I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the candidate. Not a better candidate is there in the entire election. John will make an outstanding city councilman, and I hope this doesn't cause any of you to think poorly of him. But I've thought about John's candidacy and John's potential in the council, and he reminds me a lot of myself at my age when I was in the county commission. And I was in the county commission back in, I guess it was 78, so I was like 29, and I was coming up with new ideas and new legislation and new ways to do things. And I think I got more done in those 2 years than they've got done in the 40 years since I've been on there. And John will do the same thing. You need people with new ideas and energy and good values on the city council, and that's what John is. And so I'm happy all y'all are here. I'm happy he's running, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Congressman. I can't thank Congressman Cohen enough. I mean, basically, there would be no Marek for Memphis. There would be no meeting.
There'd be no Memphis.
If it weren't for Congressman Cohen. And I want to specifically say too that if I do prevail, if I win, I will never forget what got me there. I won't ever forget that I would not have been a city councilman or had a shot to even chance to run for city council if it weren't for Congressman Cohen. And if I lose, I would never be bitter about it, because the fact that I even had the opportunity to run in the first place was because you gave me opportunities when nobody else would give them to me. I'm going to go back in history a little bit. I want to say it was 2002 or 2003. I was walking through Southwest Tennessee Community College, and I saw a Memphis flyer with a big article on an issue you were working on, and it got me excited, and I got it up and I read it and I looked through it and I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. And I became a big fan of yours before I was even technically a Democrat. And from the college Dems days when I was running the group, you came and spoke. And at the end of that, and by the way, back in 2005, I had the largest group on campus you could ever imagine. It was huge, and we were doing a great job being involved, and not just with campaigns, but with single issues and everything else. And then State Senator Cohen came and spoke at that meeting, and after the speech I walked up to him and I said, I've been hearing about this state legislative internship program, should I do that? And he goes, yeah, come work for me. So that opportunity opened up all kinds of doors. Now I will admit, part of it was luck. I was in the right time at the right place. It happened to be the last year we had State Senator Cohen before he ran for Congress, and then from there, the doors didn't just fly open, I had to work for it still. In 2006, I was a volunteer staff person. I mean, I did get stipends. I got my gas stipend, I got my cell phone stipend, I got some food and an occasional beer. But at the same time, I mean, it was hard work. It was 68 hours a week. Jeremy remembers, you were there. I was working 68 hours a week, knocking on doors until my knuckles ached and putting up yard signs until my fingers bled. And when I say that, I mean it. My fingers literally, I came into Huey's one night with my fingers bleeding because I'd been putting up 100, I put up 100 yard signs that day.
The girls really like that. Just bloody knuckles.
But I worked my heart out, and from there I kept doing stuff. And I know I'm only 32 years old, but I'm able to run for office now because I can point back to over a decade of service, and it wasn't just community service, and it wasn't just the campaigns that I worked on. It was, helping found the Memphis Bridge, the street paper that homeless people sell, that's produced by the Rhodes College students. It discourages panhandling, yet it also empowers homeless people at the same time. That's an issue that brings everybody together. As a citizen, I was able to call out for body cams on all police, and I had so many people say, John, that's never going to happen. Great idea, never going to happen. Well, I pressured city government, and then once I got a call back from a city councilman and said, we did the research, you're right, this actually saves money. Talked to my police officer friends. They were actually ecstatic to have them. Went to a normal station picnic the other day, and it was the night out, and I actually have them twice, both in the U of M area. I ran into two separate officers who already had a body cam on them. And I walked up and I said, those aren't being implemented until September. How'd you get that? Both of them said in unison, pretty much, I purchased it with my own money because I want protection. I mean, it's a common sense issue. 86% support in Tennessee. How often do you see any issue get 86% support? And I called for it not because I knew it was going to poll well. I found out about the polling afterwards. I called for it because it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to stand for. Back in the early 2000s, in my college Dem days, I was fighting on all kinds of issues that people thought I was crazy for fighting for. Polling's changed on those issues. They were the right issues to stand for, and it's proof that if you fight for the right reasons, the right causes, and the right people, it's going to come back to you because you're going to make a difference in your community. And so once again, though I'm 32 years old, I have a decade of experience I can point to, and because of that education in political science and law, and because of my friends and the experiences I've had, me and a bunch of friends from all over the political spectrum were able to sit down and craft a platform and a policy platform that actually works. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, or I'll have you here all night, but I can tell you the main crux of it, and that's that it's to get people to move back into the city. One of the biggest problems our city deals with is population loss, which equals revenue loss. So what are the three main things that make people leave? The first one's poverty. As a city councilman, there's only so much I could do. I do a lot of nonprofit volunteer work I'm actually in the Rotary Club, where I'm fighting for funding for Housing First, program that pretty much eliminated homelessness in Utah. There's other things I can do on that end. As far as city councilman, I think the best thing we could do is go after blight and take care of other issues in that area. The second issue that makes people leave, I can address a lot more in my opinion, which is crime. How many of y'all remember the police service technician program? Y'all remember the PSTs? We need them back. My officer buddy, I have a lot of police officer buddies, and they tell me all the time, they say, why am I going out to fender benders? I'm a well-trained officer, yet I spend half my day going to fender benders and animal control issues when animal control doesn't have the same requirement to respond to a call. So they're 6 hours later, and the police officer's been waiting the whole time. That's a waste of resources. We can address our crime issue so much better if we, one, bring back our PSTs, and two, have our well-trained officers focus on violent crime. That's what we're all worried about. We need to make sure we're stopping the break-ins and the car theft and things that are actually like affecting people on a day-to-day basis. So that's crime. And then the third thing that makes people leave is the highest property tax in the state. And now this is one I'm probably most proud of in the platform, just because it's a creative solution that doesn't actually cause the city to lose revenue. So many people complain about the property tax, and they're right to. So much of our funding has to come from the property tax, mostly because the state legislature ties our hands so much on what we can fund. But our solution, and I got to thank my team, we came up with this, was to tax parking garages and take every dollar from that tax and put it towards lowering the Memphis property tax. What this does is, y'all are all familiar with the group this would fall on. The people that they don't work in Saddle Creek, they work in Memphis. They use our roads, they use our services, but they don't pay for them. They drive back home, they pay a property tax in an outside suburb, and that's where the revenue's going. And so our goal is to shift that burden by taxing these parking garages. We actually take that money and we shift it from Memphis taxpayers, people who live and stay in Memphis, to people who use our roads and services but don't pay for them. It's a common sense solution. We don't lose revenue from it, and it takes care of and lowers the property tax at the same time. So that's when the congressman mentioned new ideas. Those are some of the examples that we've come up with. But if you go to my website, marekformemphis.com, you'll see plenty more. And I promise you, once again, if I prevail, it's not going to be time to rest. I'm going to keep working hard the way I've always survived in life. I'm the first person in my family to get a college degree, in my immediate family. The way I've always succeeded in life is by outworking everybody. The reason that the congressman's tolerated for me for so long is because I work hard. And if I'm a city councilman, you're going to see that same hard work ethic continuing. And every day when I wake up, it's not going to be, oh, I got to go to court now. I'll practice law still a little bit part-time, but that's not going to be my main focus. My main focus is going to be, what can I do to make Memphis a better place to live in? My main focus is going to be public service. After that, I'll think about my law practice, which will be extremely part-time at that point. That's where my focus is going to be. And I can guarantee you that. Anybody that knows me knows that's where it's going to be. That's going to be my obsession. I did go to law school, but I went to law school because I was a political science major. So I think a few political science majors in here can sympathize. But last thing for our wrap up, I do want to say one interesting thing came up today that I want to address. I hit doors every day. That's why my one thing I've been saying in a lot of my speeches lately is that I didn't get this from the tan and go. I'm getting it from hard work, hitting doors every day. But one thing, I ran into a voter who answered the door, and he said, "Who are the three most important people?" So who are the three most important people? And my first response was, well, it's not. I'm not going to name off elected officials because I know you're trying to trick me here. And he goes, "No, it's not." I go, "Okay, well, teachers?" He's like, "Right." I go, "Police?" He was right. A fireman. He goes, "You win. Put a yard sign on my yard." we have three different group of people that work in our communities that make such a big difference and that we have to have in order to have a successful society. And that's why I want to thank a couple of my school teacher friends back here who came today. And it's also why you'll notice my platform is, though I do want much better citizen law enforcement oversight, I've been fighting on the CLERB issue for a long time. That has been a big issue of mine, but you'll notice that my platform is very pro fire and police because we need them. At the end of the day, we need our city to be safe, and we need to be able to draw people in so that, once again, our revenue is not going elsewhere. But thank y'all so much for coming out today. Come up to me anytime to ask me any questions. You'll notice on my website that I put both my home phone number and my email address to everybody. Any mail I send out, any literature I post, that number and that email address are there, because too often I think, exception of Congressman Cohen, of course, too often our elected officials are not accessible enough, and I'm trying to make sure I'm actually as accessible as possible. So thank you again. Please come up to me if you have any questions.